says name 2 points, so pick a point to name in this picture.
AK.
Oh.
What?
Pick a point.
Oh, E.
Sure. E, when I name a point, how do I name it? There's 2 ways.
Point E.
I could say the word point and then E. Option 2 if I want to name that point. Just a capital E. Okay, point E or E. Pick another point in this picture. Sure, look at that. So you could also say point A, or you could just have the capital A. What are not points in this picture? G and F. How do I know visually that they're not points? They are named to the planes. They don't have a dot, right? So we knew. The next one, we're going to name 2 lines. Let's name this line first. Can I use the word line to name this line?
Yes. No.
I cannot. Because I'd need like a lowercase letter, something like that. I don't have one, so I can't use the word line. So I need to use 2 points. So pick 2 points on the line. A, B, and then I'm going to have lines with arrows at the top. Antonio Brown, yeah. All right, then we want to name, it says name 2 lines. We just named that one. We could say A, B, K, A, B, A, what else we got? You know, all the variations. We're going to name the line on the bottom. Can I use the word line to name this line? No, but what can I use? CD or DC. Number 3, we're going to name a plane. Whenever you name a plane, what do you always have to have? The word plane. And then with the points A, B, and E. So we're going to name this plane up here. We're going to name it 2 different ways. What is one way to name the plane? Plane G. Or we could say plane, and then how many letters would we use? 3, as long as they are not on the same line. So pick 3 points that are not on the same line. Close. G is not a point. So we could say AKE. I'm glad you said it, though. So any 3 of, 1, 2, 3, any 3 of these, as long as it's not just the 3 that are on the same line. So you could say AKE, EBK, EKA, you get it, ABE. This next picture, give one other name for, this is a line with arrows. I think on your paper you can kind of see it. We're going to name the line MN, which is this one. We're going to name it a couple ways just to show. Well, what can we name this line? So, NM, I heard that one. I also heard line S, because there's that lowercase letter. You could still use the arrows. You could say MN, MP, NP, PN, those kinds of things. There's a lot of different names. This next question is it's very frustrating to grade on your quizzes because a lot of you, I feel like you understand what the question is asking for, but you're not answering it correctly. When I say name 3 points that are collinear, I just want 3 points that are on the same line. So you're literally naming points. How do we name a point again? Capital letter, right? Or the word point in that capital letter. So name 3 points that are on the line. M, comma, N, comma, P. That's it. There's no arrows. There's nothing weird. There's commas to separate them. Number 6, name 3 points that are coplanar. Coplanar means that they are on the same plane. So I'm not naming a plane. I should not write the word plane. I'm just going to name 3 points that are on the plane. So we're just going to name all the points. Go ahead and name all the points that are on this plane. V, M, N, P. Are there any other points that are on the plane? No. So notice how when I name them, I just write the letter, comma, the letter, comma. And then last, name a point that is not coplanar, which means not on the plane, with N, P, and T. W. So my only guess is why they asked about T is that they don't want you to list T. Is T on the plane? No, so it's already not coplanar. So I think that they just want to do specifically to say W. You can go ahead and flip to 1.2. In exercise 1 through 3, find the length of ST. I know the full length of the line is 22, and this piece is 4. How do I find the length of ST? Well, 4 from 22, but yes. 22 minus 4 is 18. So the length of ST is 18. That's what your answer should look like. The length of ST equals 18. The second one, what's the full length of the segment? 24. I am missing a piece. I know that the length of this is 6 and the length of this is 6. So of the 24, how much do I already have? 12. So then how much remains for ST? 12. And then last ST, we know from here to here is 4.5, and from here to here is 7.6. How do I find the full length from S to T? Add them. 4.5 plus 7.6, which makes 12.1. All right. This next one, it's not difficult, but I had a student make up a quiz from like 2 weeks ago, and they had already learned 1.4 where we have like polygons, like pictures of shapes on the plane. This is not that case. It says plot the points in a coordinate plane, then determine whether, what does this say? Segment AB. So what does a segment look like?
Yeah, 2 points at stop.
Yeah, 2 points, a straight line, right, with 2 points. Not a shape. So we got segment AB, and then we've got segment CD. Okay, so let's figure out if they're congruent. We're going to, what I recommend, this says -7. So I'm going to move over my y-axis so that I can fit 7 to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't have to do this, but in order to, I don't know, make sure I stay on the graph, I just shifted it over. You don't have to. It's not a big deal if you don't. So I'm going to plot my points. We've got -7, so to the left 7, and then up 1. Make sure you put the letters with it so that you know what to connect. So we've got -7, up 1. And then B is -4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1. That is a segment, segment AB, so we connect the dots. C is 3 over 3 down 5. And then 3 down 2. So when we're deciding if they're congruent, what do they need to be? The same amount of space is the same length, right? So what's the length of AB? 3. Because when it's horizontal, you can just count. And what is the length of DC? Also 3. Because it's vertical, you can just count. So because they're both 3, are they congruent? Yes. So we're going to say segment AB is congruent to segment CD. And then that's it. (1.3) Name or identify the segment bisector of AB, then find the length of AB. The segment bisector is what cuts the segment in half. So it cuts the segment in half. So I already highlighted what cuts the segment in half. Is it a point, line, plane, ray, segment? Is it a line? So when you name a line, you either name it with the word line in a lowercase letter or with 2 points on the line. What is the only way to correctly name this line?
Line D.
Line D. All right, then we want to find the length of AB. So here's what you should notice. We've got these tick marks. What do those mean? They're congruent. Good. So AM is 15. What's the length of MB? 15. So the length of AB is 30. Good. Number 2, our segment bisector. Is it a point, line, plane, ray, segment? It is a ray. When I name a ray, what direction does the arrow point?
Right.
To the right. What would my first letter be here? M. And then L. So again, for the length of AB, I see these tick marks. If BM is 5.5, AM is 5.5. So what is the length from A to B? 11. Okay. We feeling good? I feel great about this. Number 3. Identify the segment bisector. Is it a point, line, plane, ray, or segment? Is a line, do they have a lowercase letter or 2 points? 2 points. So you're going to say MR or RM with the arrow above. And actually, I'll move this over here. So then, you should notice the tick marks. The tick marks mean that the length of SM is, it's going to be congruent to the length of MT. So equal, right? What is the length of SM? X plus 12. And the length of MT? 8x minus 2. So we're going to solve. What's the smaller x? Just the x. How do I move positive x across the equal sign? Subtract it. So 12 equals 7x minus 2. I want to get 7x by itself, so what do I need to do? Add the 2. So 14 equals 7x. Divide by 7, and x equals 2. Do I circle that answer?
No.
Do I double the answer? No. What do I do with it? I plug it back in. So 2 plus 12 is, so the length of SM is 14. I would still plug it into the other just to check that it's correct. 8 times 2 is 16, minus 2 is 14. So the length of S to T would be 28. So you'd add the 14s. Okay, number 4. What is cutting this line in half? Yes, just a point M. So you can put M or point M. And then again, those tick marks tell me the length of SM is going to be equal to the length of MT. So we're going to plug in 2x plus 3 will equal 4x minus 7. Which of these is a smaller x? 2x. I need to move that positive 2x, so I'm going to subtract it. So 3 equals 2x minus 7. I want to get 2x by itself, so add the 7. So 10 equals 2x. What do I do next? Divide by 2, so x equals 5. So the last step here, to plug it back in. 2 times 5 is? 10 plus 3 is 13. So the other side should also equal 13, but we're going to check. 4 times 5 is 20, minus 7 is 13. Perfect. So the length of ST is 26. Give you a second to catch up. So the next 2 has 2 parts. So each of them have 2 parts to it. It is written in such a way that students are getting confused. Both of them will have part A and part B. So part A says find the midpoint, M, because I can spell midpoint. And then part B is you're going to find the distance, or the length of JK. The same thing on number 8. You'll find the midpoint, and then you'll find the length of JK. So the directions are for both of them.
So we're just using 2 separate equations for the same.
2 separate formulas for the same 2 points. Yes, sir. You're correct. So part A on number 7, we're going to find the midpoint. So what I saw on the quiz was just mixing up the signs. So whenever you're finding the middle of 2 numbers, you're going to add them and then divide by 2. So x1 plus x2. Add the x's, divide by 2. Add the y's, and divide by 2. Add the x's, divide by 2. Add the y's, and divide by 2. So what are the two x's I'm going to plug in?
Negative
3
3 and 9.
and 9. So remember there's a plus sign between them. And then take the y's. What are my two y's? 2 and 2. So this first one, what's minus 3 plus 9? 6. And then 6 divided by 2 is 3. The y's, you've got 2 plus 2, which is 4. 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So you would write the midpoint, you write m. The midpoint is 3, 2. So that is part A. So we are not finished with number 7. We just answered part of it. I just made it super teeny tiny. We're going to find the length of JK now. So a lot of students got confused with this on the quiz. When there's no line above, it means the length of JK. To find the length, you use the distance formula. So we are going to find the distance between the 2 points, x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. So every time I use this formula, I write the formula and then I write it with the blanks just so I can plug right in. What is my first x? Negative 3. And my second x? 9. My first y? 2. And my second y? 2. Then we've got minus 3 minus 9, which is?
Oh, wow.
It is negative 12. We can go ahead and square it. What's negative 12 squared? 144. And then 2 minus 2 is 0, and 0 squared is 0. So do I need to write plus 0? Nah. So length of JK is, what's the square root of 44? 144. It's 12. And that is what we'll do on the second question. So again, part A, we're going to find the midpoint where we add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2. So what are my two x's? 1 and 7. And then my two y's, 3 and 5. 1 plus 7 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. 3 plus 5 is 8, divided by 2 is also 4. So you'd write m for the midpoint, that's the name of the point, is 4, 4. Alright, so we got one more part, and it is part B, to find the length of JK. So again, we've got x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. Alright, so what's my first x? 1, and my second x? My first y, and my second y? 5. Good. 1 minus 7 is negative 6 squared is positive 36. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. 36 plus 4 is 40. So the length of JK equals 6 point, what is it? 3. Whew! We've got 3 more questions, and then we will pause in the review. The goal is to play a game tomorrow for bonus points. So that's why we're doing all this today. This is 1.4. This page is all that we are finishing today. Number 1, it says classify the polygon by the number of sides. How many sides does it have? Which makes it a quadrilateral. Quadrilateral is a so convex or concave. Basically, if any of the sides come towards the center, it makes it concave because it would cave in towards the center. Convex means none of them would. So in number 1, is it convex or concave? Convex. Number 2, how many sides are there? 6, which makes it hexagon. And then convex or concave? Concave. Because 2 of the sides cave inwards towards the center. And then the last one. I don't love it. It's not going to be pretty. We have to find the perimeter of a quadrilateral. It is not a rectangle, and it is not a square. It's not pretty. This is why we end here. We're going to do this problem, and then... Okay? So... all these numbers are small, so you can draw your axis like normal. You got 2 and a 4 and a 3 and a 2, whatever. So draw your axis like normal. You can draw it in the center. When you plot your points, make sure you label them. So we've got 2, 4. We've got 2, 3. We've got -2, -2. I did tell you it's not pretty. -2, +3. And it is a quadrilateral, so you will connect the dots from PQRS. So PQRS. It's not pretty. I'm sorry. But we can already figure out 2 of the sides, because what happens if a side is vertical? You can count the blocks. So if it's vertical or horizontal, you can just count. You could use the distance formula, but I don't think anybody wants to do that. So the length from S to R is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the length from P to Q is 1. The rest of them are diagonal. So whenever you have diagonal sides, what do you have to use? The distance formula. It's just not going to be pretty. So let's find the top portion first. This is why it's so important to label your points, because we're going to find the length of SP. So we are going to plug it into the distance formula, but what are the 2 points that we're going to be looking at? S and P. So make sure you pay attention. We're looking at these 2 points. So you can ignore the other ones. I'm going to write the formula, the x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. So before we even plug stuff in, I am going to tell you what we're going to do, because I like to read from left to right because I'm an American and that's what we do. So I'm going to call S my x1, y1, only because when I look up, I want to look up 1, 2, 1, if that makes sense. So this will be my x1, y1, and this will be my x2, y2. It doesn't matter what you labeled it. I'm just telling you what we're doing in class. So what is the first x I'm going to plug in? -2. And my second x? +2. Good. My first y? 3. And then my second y. That's what I'm going to use for. So again, what matters is that the front of the parentheses should be from the same coordinate. So -2, 3 came from the coordinate S, and then 2, 4 came from coordinate P. All right, -2 minus 2 is -4. That's what happens when you take a week off school. I'm just saying. What is -4 squared?
+16.
+16, good. 3 minus 4? Negative 1 squared is 1. 16 plus 1 is? So the square root of 17, 4.1. Do I circle that answer? That is not the perimeter. So you just found this piece from S to P. This is why we don't love this problem. How are we going to find the length of our Q? We're going to do the same thing. So sorry. We're done after this. We're going to take a break. So I'm going to erase up to here. So what 2 points am I going to use in the distance formula this time? R and Q. So again, my reasoning, I'm going to make R my x1, y1 because I read from left to right. So this will be my first coordinate. And then Q, I'm just going to call my second coordinate. All right, what is the first x? Negative 2. And the second x? 2. My first y? Negative 2. And then my second y? 3. Minus 2, minus 2. Negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. Minus 2, minus 3. Negative 5. Negative 5 squared is? Add them together. 41. Which is about 6.4. So now we can actually find the perimeter. How do you find the perimeter of any shape? Add all the sides, right? So we've got, I'm just going to go around the shape 5. We've got 4.1. We've got 1. We've got 6.4. Add them together. We get 16.5 units. So if it's perimeter, you write units. And if it's area, you write units squared or square units. Same thing. All right, so